A middle school counselor faces abuse charges. Nearly $1,000 worth of groceries stolen from St. George store. And your daily weather forecast coming up with highs, lows, and everything you need to know for the days ahead.
You're watching St. George News at 5, brought to you by our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law.
Good afternoon, I'm Monica McLaughlin. Former Nevada middle school counselor David Scott Curtis, 55, faces mounting abuse charges after being extradited to Washington County, Utah following his March arrest in Mesquite, Nevada. Curtis is charged with 30 first-degree felony counts related to alleged sexual abuse over more than a decade, involving multiple victims he reportedly abused as a scout leader and caregiver. His latest case includes accusations from a juvenile who reported years of abuse, adding to previous charges from other individuals claiming abuse dating back to 2001. Curtis remains in custody without bail and is scheduled for a court appearance on Tuesday. Captain Eric Wickfield of Ivins received the Wright Brothers Master Pilot Award for his 53 years of safe flying and contributions to aviation. Starting with high school jobs to fund lessons, he built a distinguished career, even flying former presidents. Now retired, he and his pilot wife Leslie enjoy life in Utah's Ivins community. Nick Fiala has more on the story.
Ivins resident and lifelong pilot Eric Wickfield recently received the Wright Brothers Master Pilot Award, the most prestigious award of the Federal Aviation Administration. A pilot is eligible for this award if they meet certain criteria, including 50 or more years of piloting experience. Wickfield's career wasn't just limited to the cockpit. Though he did have jobs that mainly required him to fly planes, he always wanted to combine his love of flying with business. Those business ventures led Wickfield to meet his wife, Leslie, who is also an experienced pilot in her own right.
Leslie was a pilot, and she also was doing some back office work for a marine products company up in New England, and we're looking for someone to not only fly with us but also help me in the startup I had just created.
Wickfield credited her with making his long and sometimes strenuous career as a pilot and a businessman possible. He ended his more than half-a-century-long career having flown numerous dignitaries around as his passengers, including former President George W. Bush on his last ever flight.
To go 53 years without having an accident, incident, or violation, and being recognized for that I'll have to admit that felt pretty good.
Wickfield, who was raised in New England, decided to settle down in Ivins and retired in 2020. He's spending most of his time enjoying Utah's scenic views from the ground these days, even as he looks back fondly on a career spent in the sky.
Now we'll take a look at your daily weather forecast, brought to you by Casablanca Resort and Casino. Currently in St. George, it is sunny and 67 degrees, and tonight's low will dip to around 47 degrees. Tomorrow looks a bit cooler with partly cloudy skies with a high of 61 and a low of 34. Now down in Mesquite, it is currently 72 degrees, and temperatures will reach a low of 51 degrees. Tomorrow's high will reach 67 and lows at 41. And over in Cedar City, it is currently partly sunny and 57 degrees, and we will see a low tonight of 35 degrees. Tomorrow is forecasted to reach a high of 42 and a low of 22. As Region 9 fall sports are closing, big playoff matchups are coming up. We'll go to Aaron Crane for your local sports update, brought to you by Stephen Wade Auto Center.
Thanks, Monica. This past week in sports, in a rematch of last year's 4A state championship, Crimson Cliffs defeated Green Canyon 28-25 to advance to the semifinals. Despite Green Canyon's strong first-half control, Crimson Cliffs rallied with standout performances from McKay Wright and McCord Christiansen, who contributed key interceptions and touchdowns. The Mustangs will now face Skyview in the next playoff round on November 15th at Rice-Eccles Stadium. The Panguitch High School girls volleyball team clinched their second consecutive 1A state championship, sweeping all 4 of their tournament matches. Head coach Troy Norris credited the team's success to their tougher non-region schedule, which helped them overcome earlier struggles and refine their play. The Bobcats, featuring 9 seniors, dominated with a clean, mistake-free performance and strong defense, achieving their 10th state title in school's history. Now back to you, Monica.
The Utah Division of Wildlife Resources, with partners, monitors 6 native fish species in the Virgin River and recently completed a project focusing on the endangered Virgin River chub. The data they collected suggests a balanced population with promising reproduction, especially after favorable snowpack and spring runoff. For more on this story, here's a closer look.
All right, so we set a hoop net here yesterday, and we're going to pull it up and see what kind of fish we get. Here we go.
Every October, the Utah Division of Wildlife Resources monitors native fish species in the Virgin River in sites across southern Utah. In one such project, staff set hoop net traps for Virgin River chubs, leaving them in the water overnight and collecting them in the morning. They measured the chubs to gather data about each specimen's age, which can give them insight into the population overall. There was an almost equal split between adult and juvenile fish, which biologists report could be a positive sign.
Whoa! Whoa! Look at all the catfish.
Isaac Flores, 24, was arrested after reportedly attempting to steal nearly $1,000 worth of products from a St. George store, but he abandoned the cart when confronted by staff and was later apprehended by police. Flores has had an active felony warrant for stalking and probation violations, was also charged with theft, and is currently in custody awaiting review by the Washington County Attorney's Office. Thank you for watching St. George News at 5. To learn more about our studio sponsor, We Win Injury Law, go to wewininjurylaw.com. I'm Monica McLaughlin with St. George News, your #1 source for local news.
This has been St. George News at 5, brought to you by We Win Injury Law.